Fellas, 18-year-old me was an absolute monkey, and I think he needs to be put down a peg or two by 21-year-old me. But in 5 years you'll look back and think you were stupid too. Yeah, fucking alright. I know I will. I'm a 24/7 365 monkey, but I'm a learning one. So here's advice that I really wish I could give to my 18-year-old self, because it's so obvious now, all of the mistakes he was making and the good things he was doing as well. Let's begin. Number 1, become aware of your internal magnets. This will take some explaining, but when I discovered the concept of polarity and internal magnets when I was 19 years old, it felt like the entire world changed, and suddenly who I was meant to be made sense. This was a full paradigm shift, alright? When I was 18, I used to pine over girls. And by that I mean I would spend time with them, befriend them, never actually admit my feelings for them because I was too scared, and shooting my shot was never an option, it felt like. And because I spent so much time around girls and guys that were doing the same thing as me, I naturally picked up these tendencies to be more sensitive, emotional. I just did, alright? And how did this affect my relationships with girls I was interested in, besides my mental health? Well, they just weren't attracted to me, and I didn't get why. But I'm a nice guy, I would buy you flowers and treat you so well. And on top of that, I never felt the need to get stronger physically. I didn't even think to train emotional control because I believed that emotions should flow freely. And this affected my happiness, my growth, my relationships. It wasn't until I read the book The Way of the Superior Man by David Dida that I learned about the concept of polarity. Let me explain. I hope you're not going to go red pill on me. Not yet. But give me 1 minute to explain what I mean, alright? Polarity is kind of like a magnet, but it's inside of a human. We obviously know that 2 magnets with the same magnetism will create polarity, which repels them from one another. Picture the opposites attract quote, and that's what it is. The same magnets hate each other, rule of thumb. Yet the opposites love each other. And this is the exact same for human attraction. Gay, straight, bi relationships. The majority of them involve some level of polarity in order to maintain attraction. The reason, hypothetically, that a lot of relationships don't last is because the more they become comfortable with each other, the more they start to act like each other, which means they're no longer opposites, and this makes sexual attraction harder to maintain. So this is where the terms masculine and feminine come into play. Yeah, well. But these terms are cringe. There's no such thing as masculine and feminine. The internet has definitely ruined these terms. But when I was 19 and learned about how masculine and feminine polarity worked, it suddenly made so much sense why a lot of girls I was so attracted to eventually lost interest in me. They were extremely feminine girls. They were nurturing, sensitive. I find that deeply attractive still to this day. Now think of the magnets and polarity again. Who was I when I was 18? I was soft. I was mostly feminine. These traits manifested in my behaviors and overall my looks and body language. I was trying to attract girls who had really similar energies to me, and because of that they would get repelled like 2 magnets with the same magnetism. Does this make sense? 19-year-old me realized that whether he personally agreed with the masculine and feminine or not, there was an undeniable evidence in reality, the real world, right? Buddy, that shows feminine women being attracted to masculine men. Apply this to your own life. Do you look at girls you're interested in and get confused as to why they go for the bad boys, the blokes that have an edge, that look like they could be violent? This is why. Because regardless of your logical brain, your biology tends to want whatever complements your energy. So women in general love masculine men. So what does this mean for me, the young whippersnapper? 19-year-old me figured out that in order to become attractive to the girls he found attractive, he had to align with a more masculine character. But Kian, I don't want to change myself for women. Why can't they like me for me? I get that, mate, because I used to think that too, and for good reason. Why should we change ourselves just to have girls become more attracted to us? But listen to this. I started studying emotional control through stoicism, which is a more masculine trait. I started the gym to put on muscle, and more recently I've lived an incredibly disciplined life. My testosterone has definitely gone up in those couple years, and guess what? I'm the happiest I've ever been. I embraced masculinity, and for me that worked in my favor. It turned out that a lot of the mental suffering when I was younger came from the fact that I kept trying to fit into an energy, femininity, that didn't complement me, Kian, right? And since learning about polarity and magnetism, I've not only been better with girls, which isn't a large group to pull examples from, but I'm more focused and driven than I've ever been. I was actually going to make more points in this video to give more advice to him, but honestly, this was one of the biggest things that 18-year-old me needed to learn because he was a wuss. He was blind to his own ignorance, and that showed in his body shape, his behaviors, and therefore his interactions with women. He didn't realize that in order to attract the feminine girl he was attracted to, he had to offer her something in return that was different but complementary to her. Because chances are she won't be attracted to the emotional guy in her DMs with a flabby body discussing his mental health issues and anger toward the patriarchy. It sounds harsh. Oh, but what if I do have stuff with my mental health? Yeah, of course, mate. And we're going to get through that together. This reality was entirely the case for myself and everyone else I knew that also was attracted to this type of woman. This isn't anything to be bitter over. This is something that should click in your mind as, wow, this is an epiphany. It's nothing to do with women. It's not their fault and it's not men's fault. This is just something that I personally learned I had to embrace, and it's helped me so much. So, The Way of the Superior Man. It's a book that I've listened to on audio like 3 or 4 times now, and it's not about men being superior to women. It's about men being superior to their past self. I definitely recommend this book, probably more than any other book I've ever read. And obviously, if you're gay or bi or attracted to something else other than the feminine, then this still applies to you, but just the opposite way around, alright? I'm hoping this video has served or brought value to you in some way, brother. I really wish I was giving this advice when I was hitting puberty, let alone at 18. If you find this content interesting, then I'm starting a free weekly newsletter called the K Weekly Journal. I'm basically doing my journaling practice every Saturday and posting it publicly to hold myself accountable, and I'll be discussing these types of topics in greater depth. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, then click the link below because I'll try to provide as much value as possible, my brother, okay? Make your past and present self someone to thank and keep chasing that best version of you 5 years in the future.